Okay, so let's start again discussing this whole process. We went over the fact that there's nothing new about speech or rhetoric. It's been around for a long time. Back in the days of Pharaoh, there was a discussion of it as he prepared his son for ruling. He acknowledged to him that there was a form of power that came with speaking that needed to be managed. He allowed presentations in his kingdom to only be made if he gave approval. Other than that, he would shut you down, which we know now today to be censorship. One of the things that we enjoy here in America is a free press. You see, we think it's free anyway, it's free most of the time. But anytime we start to graze on that topic of citizenship, people get really anxious and blood boils because of it, because people know the power of communication. So it is necessary and essential that if you're going to be a good communicator, that you understand that. We talked about Corax, and Corax being the first teacher of rhetoric, and a lot of his writings affecting the courts. And then we went on to talk about Aristotle, who's the father of rhetoric, and took a look at how he chose to define this whole concept of rhetoric. And basically, it's a management of your ability to communicate. Over this semester, what I hope to give you is not just the ability to make presentations effectively, but the ability to think like a communicator, where you can look at a situation, find the available resources that you need in order to get your message through, and craft your message so that you get these things through effectively. Now, yes, we do that to some degree already, just naturally, because we're part of the human condition, and we communicate every single day. You're on your way here this morning, I'm sure many of you communicated with someone, okay, even if it was after you arrived here and you found the door locked, okay, you probably communicated about that, making use of this process. But the only way we can really become good, sound communicators is if we understand the properties of that process and we utilize them efficiently. So let's start and discuss the process. Now you should have in front of you a handout that's completed, but also a blank one. When I'm lecturing you, because I would one that best suits you, okay? Best suits you. I will not require of you any of those handouts as far as them being turned in, so write on it however you find comfortable to retain the information, okay? All right. Yesterday when we started out, we talked about the need for there to be three things in order for the potential of communication to occur. Three key things. And one was the sender. There needs to be a sender. And that sender in public speaking is your speaker. Who can tell me another part that needs to be there in this three-part matter? Okay, we have to have a receiver. So there needs to be somebody able to take in the message. And in public speaking, that would be your audience. There we go. And then there had to be something that needed to go between the two. And that was our what? Our message, right? We acknowledge the fact that there's communication that occurs in a subtle way when people are at a bus stop, waiting for the bus to come. But when you talk about formal communication, productive communication, you need these three pieces. In order for us to communicate today, you had to be here, I had to be here, and I had to have something to say, quite frankly. All right? All communication occurs within an environment, and that environment is called the context. And it greatly impacts the flow of communication and its effectiveness. So you do always want to be mindful of the context, Is it good to talk to someone about something very important in a busy, loud bus station? What would be the obvious answer? No, because you have so many distractions, the context is not conducive to success. If you don't have any other choice, then you might have to make that work, but then you would need to try to modify the context, all right? Now, there are other factors to this process we started to deal with the other day. We talked about at the core of the process, there always being a goal, 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 a go And then a what? A result. We refer to as what, guys?
Okay.
Yeah, an outcome. Okay. And, because when we choose to engage in communication, we do so because we have some goal in mind. Now, it doesn't always have to be some deep thing in life as we know it. It could be just that, hey, there's Sherry, she's really cool, I like talking with her, just for social engagement and enjoyment. But it certainly can get involved, all right? Now, as the sender sends a message to the receiver or the audience will also give something back to the sender. What do we refer to that as? Feedback, right? Feedback, all right? All right, so we have our 4 quadrants established for the process itself and its core. All right. Now we have to continue on though and talk about how things flow in the process. The whole flow of the process occurs through 2 of these. We acknowledge them at 4 points in our diagram. And you'll want to be mindful of that when you're taking your quiz, because you'll encounter that. And these 2 things are called your channel. So you have a channel that flows from the sender to the receiver, and a channel that flows from the receiver back to the sender. Okay? We've got our flow going there. Okay? Now, there are 3 types of channels that a good communicator is aware of and will utilize as needed in order to get their message through. There is 3 types of channels. Okay? What's the first most obvious one? Verbal. Verbal. Okay? And we also refer to this as the audio channel. Okay? The second one is the what? Visual. Visual. And then the third is the physical, also known as the kinesthetic. This kinesthetic channel. Okay? So, when you start to think about how you're going to prepare your message, you want to keep in mind these 3 channels. I've got to move this a little bit so we can get in another piece of information here. So let me just move it over to you. Okay. So we have our verbal. We have our visual and our physical. Okay, so yesterday we talked, I mentioned to you guys, of course the verbal channel is obvious. I speak a message out, you take it in, okay? The verbal, the visual is I prepare something that complements what I'm speaking, and as you see it, your understanding of what I'm speaking to you or verbalizing to you is enhanced, okay? But then there's always this physical, which is a very powerful channel that's often overlooked. If I can engage you physically, a lot of times the message is clearer and it's retained more. So your goal as a communicator is to always consider what it is you want to go after, and you look to utilize the combination that works best for your audience and your message within the context that you're talking. Okay, so I have a funny story to tell you, but I'm going to hold off on that in just a minute. Okay, so as we look at this and we prepare our message, what we're doing is going through a process called encoding. We're encoding our message or preparing that message so that it best reaches the audience, okay? And as it goes to our audience and they try to understand it, this is called, they go through a process as you're going through literally right now called decoding. Now I'm going to age myself, but back in the day when people were excited about cereal, you know, you get your big box of cereal. My dad would bring home a big box of cereal, and inside it there would be a prize. You know, that was their sales tactic. So you would pester your parents to get the one with the prize. And oftentimes you would open up the box and get your prize out, and there'd be a decoder thing, you know, and you would lay the map out and you would look at all the different symbols and see what letter each symbol represented, and you would decode this thing and say, it's saying, you know, that the circus is coming to town, whatever it was telling you, you know, if you collect 50 of these, you can get a bauble or something sent through the mail. All right, well, this is similar to that process. I am here speaking with you this morning, and I'm preparing what it is I have for you, sending it over a channel. I'm looking at and making use of two of the three primarily, and I'm hoping that you're taking this in. Okay, but I've also given you something to write on and to write with, and I've tried to encourage you to write things at key times. Why? To try to access even that third channel. Okay, in hopes that your decoding would be easier. See, audiences want to know what's in it for me, and how easy can you make it for me to take in this message. You see, and it's no wonder, because we all have busy lives and a lot to do. And if I have to work too hard to take in your message, and there's no consequence for me not taking it in, I'm just going to tune you out. You see, so you have to keep that in mind when you're putting this in place. Now, as you give me a gift, the gift of feedback, you also go through a process of preparing that, and that's called encoding. Okay. Now, some feedback is given on with intent, but at other times it's done because it's where you're at. You unintentionally send some feedback. Like, I don't believe you meant to yawn during my lecture, but you know, maybe you did. Maybe you're like, well, if I yawn, she'll know that I'm moving along. Perhaps that's it, but most of the time that's unintentional. But giving a confused look, sometimes I'll get a stare, a blank stare. Sometimes I'll get a nod and a smile, and I'll know that that is feedback to say, okay, I am catching what you're saying, Professor Tangi, keep on going. Or sometimes there's the raising of the hand, okay? But all of that is part of encoding or preparing your feedback to give to me, and then it's my job to decode it or understand it. Okay? Yesterday we had an example where we needed a break. We really did need a break, and we're probably going to need two today, to tell you the truth, because it's warm. You see, it's warm, it's a sunny day, it's early, you know, all of these things. And so, you know, I have to get feedback, you know, from you guys to know when you're in need of that break. See, some people, you know, young lady yesterday, she was out now asked about it, but today, some of you may do that and more, trying to give me feedback. We really got to have a break, okay? All of that is involved in the process of communication. Okay? Any questions at this point? Nope. Then we just keep her rolling, okay? All right, so yesterday, in addition to this, we talked about shared meaning, and this is, I always struggle to get these boxes turned around, so I'll take a sneak peek. Oh, okay, I don't know. And a lot of times, the goal in communication is at least to make sure there's a consistent understanding between the sender and the receiver. That doesn't mean that there always has to be agreement, but we should leave our communication scenario with the same understanding of the message, or communication has failed. We refer to this as shared meaning. Okay? And the wise communicator is always aware of this and will check for it. So if they're telling you, If someone comes to you and they say to you, hey, I noticed you weren't around today in class, I just wanted you to know, we have a quiz on Tuesday. They're probably going to wait to see if you give them some kind of feedback that shows that you have an understanding that the quiz is on Tuesday, okay? So they might pause and look, and you say, Tuesday? Yes, on Tuesday. See? And once there's shared meaning, then we know communication, at least to some degree, has been successful. So a lot of times, shared meaning and the outcome, there's a connection between the two. Right? Connection between the two. Now we used our example of the party, the other day. But let's use another example. Let's say you have a cousin, Sharon. You love Sharon. Sharon's forgetful. Okay. And so, but Sharon, you love her. She's your cousin, and she has a car, and you and she work out rides to and fro to campus. Okay. And normally, when you're done, you all will leave campus at about 1 o'clock. And she drops you off at your job, and she goes on to do what she has to do. But your boss has asked you to come in an hour early. You need to arrive an hour early. So instead of leaving at noon to meet your obligation, you need to leave at 11 o'clock. Okay? All right. So you're talking to Sharon and whatnot. Your goal in communicating